Hello, this is Craig Shoemaker, new media evangelist for Infragistics. And before we get started, there's just a few things I'd like to share with you. If you have any questions about this screencast, please feel free to email me at cshoemaker@infragistics.com. If you have any support questions, please go to infragistics.com/get-help. And if you'd like to check out the documentation on any one of our controls, please go over to infragistics.com/docs. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. What I'd like to show you right now is how you can use the Smart tag in order to customize the columns found in the WebDataGrid. So let's go ahead and get started with our project here. I've got a page already set up, and we have a script manager set up on the page along with the WebDataGrid control, and that is linked up to a SQL data source. The SQL data source is talking to Northwind, which we have set up a connection on this machine, and it's just doing a select all out of the products table. So nothing's been customized on the WebDataGrid yet, so let's go over to the Smart tag and let's edit the columns. Now these columns show up because when you set the data source ID against the SQL data source, it looks at the query and it looks at the columns that are coming back and will create these columns for you. If you didn't do that, you could add in these bound columns manually, but I'm going to show you how we can customize some of the items that we're going to do. First, when you come in here, you can obviously delete any of these fields. You can reorder them. It's very easy to do. Now let's dive into some of the customizations you can do on a column. So if you come over here, we're gonna select on product ID and take a look at each one of these items. Now data field name, this is obviously the data field that we're looking at from the columns collection. So we're gonna leave that alone. The data format string is any format string that you want to create in order to give values to the individual cells. So let's put in here, we'll say product or we'll just do product number space, and then we have to have the token for the value. So this will be our format string. This should be pretty familiar to you from any other type of string manipulation in .NET. Now HTML and code, this is set as default to true. Basically, in order to make sure that our websites remain secure, anything that has been entered in by a user, we want to make sure that we're encoding. So when it's redisplayed out, we're not exposing the site to any sort of malicious attacks. Obviously, anytime you're working with data, there's always a good chance that that data was put in by some sort of a user, and not necessarily a trusted backend source. So this is set to true, and we'll leave it at that default. So the CSS class will come in here, and we'll just call this product. And then for the header and footer, you can give specific text for each one of them. Let's just start with the header because that's turned on by default. And just to show that we've done some customization, we'll call this product ID. Now a key, this is a key as you would normally expect. It must be unique within the collection. So we'll leave that as product ID. And when we come in here, we can specify the width. So let's say 150 pixels. And then we'll apply all those changes and then take a look at what it looks like. Now we didn't do any customization with the CSS yet, but as you see, just to take a look at what we've initially got, the data format string is working because we have product number and then the actual value of the primary key. We have the space found within the header, and it's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and make sure our CSS class works. We'll pop into the source and we'll open up a style tag. And I believe the CSS class was product. So we'll just do a font weight bold here. And run it and see what it looks like. So now all of the text within our product column is now bold. Okay, let's do a little bit more customization to this. What we've got up here in the header is great, but it will also support templating. So to customize that header a little bit more, what we'll do is come up to the Smart tag and we'll edit the template collection. From there we'll click on Add Item and we'll call this one Product ID Header. Hit Apply and then OK. Now when we drop into the source, we have the Product ID Header right here for us. So what we can do here is customize things a little bit. So let's make this an image instead. So we'll create the template and add in an image. And we've got an image set aside that will work for this. product ID header image here. So now that we've got the template, the last thing that we need to do is associate the template with that column. So we'll come back up into the columns, we'll find our product ID, and then for the header, we'll tell the template ID, and this will be product ID header. So now let's take a look. You see that the designer's updated. Let's see what it looks like when we run the page. And there we go. Now obviously that will work for the header and the footer, and the amount of control that you have within the Smart Tag to customize the columns is pretty extensive. So I hope this helps you and get up and running on how to customize each one of your columns. Thanks a lot.
Infragistics. On the web at infragistics.com.